Good morning. I'm Remo, and a massive wildfire in France has killed one person and injured 13 others while burning an area larger than Paris itself. This is the Daily Signal for August 7th, 2025. Stay tuned for the rest of today's critical stories that will impact your world.
Unfiltered. Now,
Here are the other top stories for August 7th, 2025. Ghana's defense and environment ministers killed in helicopter crash, along with 6 others. Over 100 people missing after devastating flash floods destroy entire village in India. Israel kills 135 Palestinians in 24 hours, including 87 waiting for humanitarian aid. Trump administration secretly urges countries to reject plastic production limits in UN treaty. Denmark zoo asks public to donate their pets as food, not attractions. Italy approves $15.5 billion for world's longest suspension bridge to Sicily. France strips residence permit from man who lit cigarette at war memorial. Trump reportedly supports Netanyahu's plan for full occupation of Gaza. CBS reveals shocking then and now photos of Hiroshima and Nagasaki 80 years later. Now let's dive into each story with the details you need to know. Breaking overnight, France is battling its most devastating wildfire of the year, and the numbers are staggering. This fire has consumed over 32,000 acres. That's larger than the entire city of Paris. Here's what happened. The blaze erupted Tuesday in southern France's Aude region near the Spanish border. Within hours, it killed one person trapped in their home and injured 13 others, including 11 firefighters risking their lives on the front lines. The village of Jonquière has been virtually wiped off the map, 3/4 of it completely destroyed. Every single resident evacuated. Over 2,100 firefighters and water-bombing aircraft are battling flames in brutal conditions: extreme heat, bone-dry terrain, and punishing winds. French officials are calling this unprecedented in scale. The Interior Minister just announced military reinforcements arriving Thursday. Why this matters to you? Climate experts warn these mega-fires are becoming the new normal across Europe. What we're seeing in France could be coming to forests near you. Meanwhile, in West Africa, another tragedy strikes from the sky. Ghana is in mourning after losing 2 of its top government ministers in a single helicopter crash. The defense minister and environment minister died alongside 6 others when their aircraft went down. This isn't just a tragic accident. It's a massive blow to Ghana's government operations. These weren't just officials. They were key players in Ghana's defense strategy and environmental policies. The crash details are still emerging, but early reports suggest mechanical failure. The helicopter was conducting official government business when it went down. Here's why this matters globally. Ghana is one of West Africa's most stable democracies and a key U.S. ally in the region. Losing both defense and environmental leadership simultaneously creates a dangerous power vacuum at a time when the region faces increasing security threats. The ripple effects will be felt from Washington to Beijing. Both major powers have significant investments in Ghana's stability. From government tragedy to natural disaster, India faces its own crisis. Over 100 people are missing and feared dead after catastrophic flash floods completely destroyed the village of Dharauli in northern India's Uttarakhand state. This happened fast. Residents had virtually no warning as walls of water came crashing down from the mountains above. Entire families swept away in minutes. Rescue teams are working around the clock, but here's the brutal reality. In flash flood disasters like this, the missing are rarely found alive. The geography of this mountainous region makes search and rescue operations extremely dangerous and slow. This is the 4th major flood disaster in Uttarakhand this year alone. The state sits in the Himalayan foothills, where climate change is accelerating glacier melt and creating more frequent extreme weather events. Why you should care? These aren't isolated incidents anymore. From France's wildfires to India's floods, we're seeing climate disasters hitting harder and faster than ever before. The question isn't if extreme weather will affect your region, it's when. Speaking of escalating crises, the situation in Gaza just got deadlier. The numbers from Gaza are staggering. 135 Palestinians killed by Israeli forces in just the past 24 hours. Here's the detail that makes this even more tragic. 87 of those killed were waiting for humanitarian aid. This brings us to day 670 of the current conflict. That's nearly 2 years of continuous warfare. The Gaza Health Ministry reports these casualties as families lined up for food and medical supplies became targets. Israeli officials haven't responded to requests for comment on these specific incidents, but the military continues its operations citing security concerns and Hamas threats. Here's the broader context you need. International aid organizations say Gaza's humanitarian system has completely collapsed. People aren't just caught in crossfire, they're dying while seeking basic survival necessities. The United Nations is calling for immediate ceasefire talks, but with over 43,000 total Palestinian deaths reported since October 2023, diplomatic solutions seem further away than ever. This connects directly to our next story about Trump's position on the conflict. New reporting reveals President Trump does not oppose Netanyahu's plan for full Israeli occupation of Gaza, according to U.S. officials familiar with private conversations. This is significant because it shows Trump's foreign policy stance ahead of potential 2025 political developments. Unlike current administration calls for restraint, Trump reportedly gave Netanyahu what amounts to a green light for complete territorial control. The details. Multiple sources say Trump views full occupation as the most effective way to eliminate Hamas permanently. He's reportedly told advisors that half measures haven't worked and that Israel needs to finish the job. Why this matters. If Trump returns to any position of influence, U.S. Middle East policy could shift dramatically towards supporting complete Israeli control over Gaza's 2.3 million residents. Palestinian officials are already calling this a declaration of support for ethnic cleansing, while Israeli hardliners see it as validation of their most aggressive strategies. From international politics to environmental policy, Trump's influence continues. A leaked Trump administration memo reveals a coordinated effort to undermine global plastic pollution controls. The document urges countries to reject production caps in the upcoming UN plastic treaty. Here's what they're not telling you. This memo went to dozens of countries weeks before crucial treaty negotiations. It argues that plastic production limits would hurt economic growth and energy independence. Environmental groups call this corporate capture of climate policy. The memo specifically targets caps on single-use plastics and virgin plastic production, the exact measures scientists say are essential to stop ocean pollution. The timing is critical. Ocean plastic pollution kills over 1 million seabirds annually and creates dead zones larger than Texas. Without production limits, scientists predict plastic in oceans will triple by 2040. Speaking of shocking environmental news, you won't believe what a Danish zoo is asking for. A Danish zoo has made an unprecedented request. They're asking the public to donate their pets, not as new attractions, but as food for the animals. This extraordinary ask comes as zoos face skyrocketing food costs and supply chain disruptions. The zoo says they need fresh meat sources, and household pets could provide necessary nutrition for carnivorous animals. Animal rights groups are calling this barbaric, while the zoo defends it as practical animal management during crisis times. This reveals a hidden crisis in zoos worldwide. Many are struggling financially post-pandemic and making desperate choices for animal welfare. Now let me rapid fire through our final 3 stories. Italy just approved $15.5 billion for the world's longest suspension bridge connecting mainland Italy to Sicily, a 2-mile engineering marvel that will revolutionize Mediterranean transport. France stripped the residence permit from a man who lit a cigarette at a war memorial, showing zero tolerance for disrespecting fallen soldiers. CBS released haunting then and now photos comparing Hiroshima and Nagasaki's 1945 destruction with today's thriving cities, 80 years after the atomic bombings that ended World War II. Here's what connects today's stories and why they matter to your future. First, we're living through a period of accelerating crises. From France's unprecedented wildfires to India's devastating floods to Ghana's government tragedy, disasters are hitting harder and faster than our systems can handle. Second, Geopolitical tensions are reaching dangerous new levels. Trump's positions on Gaza occupation and environmental treaties signal potential massive shifts in U.S. foreign policy that could reshape global stability. Third, institutions are under stress everywhere. Danish zoos asking for pet donations, French authorities revoking permits for memorial disrespect, Italy investing billions in infrastructure, all show governments and organizations making extreme choices to maintain order and function. The pattern is clear. We're in an era where normal responses to problems aren't working anymore. Leaders are choosing increasingly dramatic actions because incremental solutions have failed. What does this mean for you? Stay informed, stay prepared, and understand that the changes happening globally will affect your local community sooner than you think. That's the Daily Signal for August 7th, 2025. I'm Remo. Subscribe for tomorrow's critical updates, and remember, in times of crisis, information is your most valuable resource.
Unfiltered.